Have you ever felt like you could do something big in your life, but somehow you're stuck exactly where you are? You try. You think about starting fresh. Sometimes you even feel motivated, but after a few days, everything goes back to the way it was. And then you ask yourself, why does this always happen to me? Have you ever noticed that some people start just like you? They don't have much money, no special resources, yet slowly they move ahead. And on the other side, some people keep working hard for years, but nothing really changes in their lives. So where's the difference? Is it luck? Is it money? Or is there something else that we just don't see? Let me tell you the truth. If you look closely, you'll notice something strange. Two people in the exact same situation, facing the same problems, but their results are completely different. One person sees opportunity in every difficulty, and the other gets stuck in that same difficulty. One fails and becomes stronger, and the other stops moving forward because of the fear of failure. And this is a point where the direction of life begins to change. But the real question is, why does this happen? Why do some people keep moving forward, no matter what, while others spend their entire life trying, yet remain stuck in the same place? Why is it that some people turn their dreams into reality, while others only keep dreaming? If you truly want to know the answer, then you need to understand one thing, because the thing that can either make your life or break it is not outside, it's inside you. But before you understand that, I want to ask you a small question. Ask yourself honestly, if you look at your life 5 years from now, will you still be the same person you are today? Or will you have become the person you dream of becoming right now? Pause for a moment and think, because the answer to this question will decide the direction of your entire life. And maybe this is exactly where you are right now, at a point where you can either move forward or stay stuck here forever. But the real part is still left, because the reason you haven't discovered yet is deeper than you think. And when you understand it, you'll realize that all this time you were trying in the wrong place. And maybe that's why your life hasn't changed yet. Because the truth is, most of us spend our entire lives working hard in the wrong direction. We think if we had more money, our life would change. We think if we got the right opportunity, we would move ahead. We think if our situation improved, everything would automatically fall into place. But does it really happen like that? Look back for a moment. How many times did you get an opportunity, but you let it go yourself? How many times did you start something new, but after a few days, you stop yourself? How many times did you say, this time, I'll definitely change? But then the same old habits, the same old thinking, pulled you right back, and every time, you felt that maybe the problem is outside. But the truth is, the problem was never outside. The problem was always inside. And the biggest thing is, we don't even realize it. We blame our circumstances. We blame people. We blame luck. But we never think that maybe our own thinking is holding us back. Because a person only sees what they believe. If you believe that doing something big is difficult for you, your mind will find every possible reason to prove you right. And if you believe that you can do anything, that same mind will start finding ways for you, which means the world stays the same, but your perspective changes. And that's a difference between people who move forward and those who stay stuck for years. But there's something even more dangerous. We start believing our thoughts are the truth. Once you convince yourself, I can't do it, then no matter how many opportunities come your way, you'll reject them yourself. You'll give up before even trying, and you'll feel like you made the right decision because your mind is trying to protect you from failure, from risk, and from discomfort. But that's the real problem, because the very thing you're avoiding might be the thing that can move you forward. And this is the point where most people lose. They never realize that the real battle isn't outside. It's happening inside. And until this battle is won, nothing truly changes in life. But if you understand how your mind works and how your thinking shapes your reality, then everything can change. Because from that moment, you can start taking control of your life. And maybe for the first time, you'll realize that all this time, you were playing against yourself. And maybe for the first time, you'll realize that all this time, you were playing against yourself. Because the truth is, no one in this world can harm you as much as your own thinking can. Try to understand this carefully. Every decision you make, every step you take, every risk you take or avoid, all of it is controlled by one thing: your mindset. In other words, your way of thinking. And this is the place where the entire game of life is decided, because your mindset doesn't just shape your thoughts. It shapes your actions, your habits, and ultimately your entire reality. The way you think is the way you feel, and the way you feel is how you make decisions, and those decisions create your life. Which means, if the beginning is wrong, the ending can never be right. Now understand something simple. If a person believes that they are not good at public speaking, what will they do? They'll avoid going on stage. They'll miss opportunities. And slowly, they'll start believing that they can never become a good speaker. But what was the real problem? Their ability? No, it was a belief they formed in the beginning. And this same pattern repeats everywhere. In money, in career, in relationships. If you believe you can't become rich, you'll never even look for those opportunities. If you believe you're average, you'll never try to become extraordinary. And if you believe you don't have a chance, you'll give up before the chance even arrives. That's why two people start from the same place, but end up in completely different destinations, because their thinking is different. One person looks for solutions in every problem, and the other finds problems in every solution. One sees failure as a lesson, and the other accepts it as a limitation. And slowly, these small patterns of thinking turn into a big reality. Now ask yourself honestly, which category do you fall into? Are you the one who holds yourself back every time, or the one who keeps moving forward even after falling? Because this decision will define your future. And the most dangerous part is, most people spend their entire lives without realizing what's actually holding them back. They think the world is unfair, their circumstances are bad, they don't have resources. But the truth is, their own mindset is standing in their way. And until that changes, nothing will change. But the moment it does, everything starts to change. Because from that moment, you begin to see things that you couldn't see before. And this is exactly what makes every successful person different. Have you ever wondered how some people keep winning, even after failing again and again? Do they have some special power? Or do they have something that ordinary people don't? If you look closely, you'll find one common thing: their mindset. For example, just look at Steve Jobs. The man who built Apple was once fired from the very company he created. Now think about it. If that happened to you, what would you do? Maybe you'd break down. Maybe you'd believe that everything is over. But Steve Jobs didn't think that way. He didn't see that failure as the end of his life, but as a new beginning. He once said that it became the most creative period of his life. And because of that mindset, he built companies like Pixar and Next. And a few years later, he was invited back to Apple. Now think, if he had given up back then, what would have happened? Maybe Apple would never have reached the level it has today. But this isn't just one example. Look at Thomas Edison, the man who invented the electric bulb. Faced thousands of failures. Thousands. But every time, he thought the same thing. This is not a failure. It's just a way that doesn't work. Now think about it. How easy it would have been to quit. But he didn't. And that's why today the entire world uses his invention. And this pattern is visible in every successful person. Michael Jordan, considered the greatest basketball player in the world, was once rejected from his school team. Rejected, but he didn't let that rejection become his identity. He used it as fuel, and because of that fuel, he became a legend. Now look closely. In all of these stories, one thing is common. They had problems. They had failures. They had rejections. but their perspective was different. Where others stop, they start learning. Where others feel fear, they start trying. And slowly, this difference completely transforms their lives. Now the real question is all of this only possible for a few special people? Oh, can anyone, by changing their mindset, achieve the same results? Because if this is true, then it means the gap between you and them is not as big as you think. Maybe the only difference is they learn how to control their thinking. And until now, you haven't. But this doesn't mean at all that you can't do it, because the truth is, what they have learned, you can learn too. And it all starts with something very simple, yet powerful: imagination. For a moment, close your eyes and think, if your life became exactly the way you truly want it to be, what would it look like? You wake up in the morning and you have no worries. Not about money, not about people's opinions, not about the fear of failure. You have that freedom you've always wanted. You make your own decisions, and you know you can make them right. The people around you respect you. They listen to you because you've proven yourself. Now take it one step further. Imagine you're doing the work that you truly love, and from that, you're achieving success. Every day, you feel that you're moving forward, you're growing, and most importantly, you trust yourself. Now pay attention. What you're imagining right now is not just a dream. It's a signal to your mind, because your brain cannot clearly distinguish between reality and imagination. When you imagine something repeatedly, your brain starts believing it's possible. And the moment something feels possible, your actions begin to change. Until now, what were you doing? You were thinking about your problems, your limitations, and your mind was working in that same direction. But now, if you start imagining your success, slowly, your mind will begin to work in that direction. And this is the point where real change begins. Because when you start seeing yourself as a successful person, you begin to make the kind of decisions that a successful person makes. You start taking actions that move you forward. And most importantly, you stop holding yourself back. Now think again. If every day, even for a few minutes, you imagine your dream life with absolute clarity, what will happen? Slowly, your mind will begin to accept that image as real. And then, your entire thinking will start to change. And when your thinking changes, your life begins to change on its own. But there's one thing here that most people miss. And maybe this is why even after visualization, they don't see real change in their lives. Because just imagining is not enough. What you imagine and how you imagine it makes all the difference. What do most people do? They create a vague image, think about it for a moment, and then return to their old life. No emotion, no connection. And that's why their mind doesn't take it seriously. But if you truly want change, you need to take your imagination to the next level. Don't just see it, feel it. Now imagine again, but this time, a little slower, a little deeper. You're in your room, but it's not the same old room. Everything has changed. Your environment, your energy, your confidence. You're standing in front of the mirror. And this time, you don't feel doubt when you look at yourself. You feel belief. There's a confidence in your eyes that you've never seen before. Now imagine you step outside. People notice you because your presence has changed. The way you speak, the way you walk, your attitude, everything is different. You talk to someone and you don't feel fear. You express yourself confidently because you know what you're capable of. Now go a little further. You're living the life you once only imagined. You are financially stable. You make your own decisions. You have options. And most importantly, you are happy. Now hold on to that feeling, that satisfaction, that freedom, that pride. Feel it deeply, because this is the moment when your mind starts accepting this image as real. And the moment it feels real, something inside you changes. Your thinking changes. Your behavior changes. And slowly, your life begins to change. But there's one more thing. that can either make this entire process extremely powerful or completely useless, and that is your belief. If deep down you don't believe that this is possible, then no matter how many times you imagine it, nothing will change. But even once, if you truly capture that feeling, then you won't be able to stop yourself, because your mind will now push you in that direction. And maybe this is a moment where you have to decide whether you'll stay with your old thinking or choose that new reality that you just saw in your mind. That's not just an imagination, it's your potential reality. But now the biggest question is, can you actually see yourself as that person? Because the truth is, life doesn't change from the outside, life changes from within. And until your identity changes, nothing changes permanently. You can listen to all the motivation you want, watch as many videos as you like. It will feel good for a while, but then you'll return to the same place where you started. Why? Because deep inside, you are still the same person, and a person always acts according to their identity. If you see yourself as an average person, you'll make average decisions. If you see yourself as weak, you'll avoid challenges. If you see yourself as unlucky, you'll give up before even trying. And slowly, this identity becomes your entire life. But now think the opposite. If you start seeing yourself as a strong person, what will happen? If you tell yourself, I am someone who never gives up, won't you start behaving that way? If you believe, I can learn, I can change, won't you start trying new things? This is the shift that changes everything. Because once your identity changes, you don't have to force yourself. You naturally become that person. Now understand something simple. To change your life, you don't just need to change your actions. You need to change how you see yourself. Now ask yourself, until today, who have you believed yourself to be? Do you see yourself as weak, average, or capable? Because whatever your answer is, that has already become your reality. And if you truly want change, the first thing you need to do is break this identity. You need to accept that you are not who you have believed yourself to be. You are far more than that. You have potential that you may have never even explored, but it will only come out when you allow it, when you give yourself permission to change, to move forward, to win. And the moment you accept this, your decisions change, your actions change, and slowly, your entire life begins to change. And maybe this is the point where for the first time, you begin to separate from your old version. But there's a truth here that you must understand. Just changing your thinking doesn't change everything on its own. Your thinking shows a path, but you still have to walk it. Because even if you change your identity, but don't change your actions, slowly, you'll fall back into the same old patterns. And that's why so many people start strong, but can't stay consistent. They decide that they will change, but after a few days, their old behavior returns. Why? Because change is uncomfortable. When you try to do something new, your mind tries to stop you. It wants to keep you safe. It says, leave it. This isn't for you. We'll start tomorrow. This isn't the right time. And slowly, you stop believing that voice. But if you truly want to change, you have to break this pattern. And it's not as difficult as it seems. You just need to make a small shift. Instead of focusing on big changes, focus on small actions. Every day, just one small step. So small that your mind can't reject it. For example, if you want to learn something new, start with just 5 minutes a day. If you want to work on your goals, make a little progress every day. Because when you take small actions, your confidence builds slowly. And as your confidence grows, you start taking bigger steps. Now understand one more thing. You don't need to be perfect. You will make mistakes. You will miss some days. But that doesn't mean you go back to where you started. Because real growth is not about being perfect. It's about getting back up every time you fall. And when you learn to do that, slowly, your mindset becomes stronger. Now you don't fear challenges. You face them. Now you don't run from failure. You learn from it. And slowly, you become the person who doesn't just think, but takes action. And this is the point where most people fall behind, because they keep thinking, they keep planning, but they don't take action. But if you become different here, if you start taking small steps, then stopping you will become almost impossible. And maybe this is the moment where you have to decide, will you stay among those who only think, or will you become one of those who actually take action? Because the truth is, the difference in this world isn't made by talent. It's made by decisions. That one decision you make within yourself, that you are no longer going to stop. But there's one more thing here that can either make this entire journey easy or stop you right at the beginning. And that is your commitment, how much you promise yourself, and how well you keep that promise. Because in the beginning, everyone has motivation. Everyone feels excited. Everyone says, I will change. But after a few days, those same people stop. Why? Because they never truly committed to themselves. They only thought about it, but they never decided. And there's a huge difference between thinking and deciding. When you think, you always have the option to step back. But when you decide, you don't give yourself that option. Now ask yourself, have you ever truly decided that you will change your life? Oh, are you still just thinking about it? Because if you're still just thinking, nothing will change. But if in this moment you truly decide, then this can become the turning point from where your entire life begins to change. Now listen carefully. This moment may seem small, but this is where the difference begins. Because most people ignore this moment. They say, let's see, I'll start tomorrow. There's still time. And in that cycle, their entire life passes by. But if you are different, if you truly want change, then right now, right here, you have to make a decision. Not a big decision, just a simple one. That you will no longer stay your old version. That you will stop holding yourself back. That every single day, you will move forward, even if it's a little. And if you believe this, if you truly feel that your time has come, then don't just think it, express it. Because when you write something down, it doesn't remain just a thought. It becomes a commitment. So if you're truly ready, if you want to make this promise to yourself, then write in the comments right now, this is my time. And don't just write it. Feel it when you write it, because these are not just words. This is your new beginning. And the moment you write it, your mind will start taking it seriously. And maybe this will be the first step from where you truly begin to change your life, because every change always begins with a small decision. And today, you are standing at a point where you can choose between two paths. The first path, where you keep doing what you've always done, the same thinking, the same habits, the same excuses, and after some time, you'll look back and think, I wish I had done something different back then. But by then, it will be too late, because time waits for no one. Every day, every hour, every minute, a part of your life is quietly slipping away. And if you still don't change anything, this same pattern will continue. But the second path, it's a little difficult, a little uncomfortable, but this is a path that can take you where you truly want to go. On this path, you'll have to fight yourself, your fears, your habits, your old thinking. But every time you win, you become stronger. Every day you take a small step, you move closer to your goal. And slowly, you'll start realizing that you are changing. You are becoming the person you once imagined. Now think, 5 years from now, will you still be the same person you are today? Oh, will you be a completely different person who conquered their fears, changed their mindset, and started living life on their own terms? Because this future is not random. It is a result of the decisions you make today. And today, you have a chance to change your story. Now the choice is yours. Either remain who you are today or become who you were meant to be. But always remember one thing. No one else is coming to change your life. There will be no perfect time, no perfect opportunity. You have to stand up yourself. You have to decide yourself. You have to take action yourself. And the day you do this, you'll realize that the real power was always inside you. You just never used it. So don't wait anymore. Whatever you have to do, start now, because either you change today or your entire life will pass the same way. And the only difference will be, one day, you'll realize that you could have done better, but you never even tried.